Our stories are not real and made for entertainment purpose only. Subscribe to my channel for more stories. Now let's begin this one. I poured my heart into my garden, trusting my neighbor's friendship until she claimed my design as her own at the town's home show, threatening my dream, only for me to unveil photos that exposed her lies and reclaimed my vision in front of everyone. My neighbor stole my garden design at the home show, then I showed photos that ended her. At 34, Clara Nguyen, had rooted my life in Rosewood, a small Ohio town where maple-lined streets and tidy lawns fostered a tight-knit community. My passion was gardening, my backyard a vibrant canvas of perennials, trellises, and stone paths that drew neighbors like moths to a flame. My husband, Min, a high school math teacher with a dry wit and a knack for building pergolas, was my partner in every sense, his steady hands turning my sketches into reality. Our son, Kai, aged 7, was my spark, his love for digging in the dirt and planting marigolds filling our home with joy, his muddy boots a constant on our porch. Gardening wasn't just a hobby, it was my calling. After years in a corporate job in Cleveland, I'd quit to pursue landscape design, transforming Rosewood's yards into havens of color and calm. My backyard was my showroom, its winding paths, lavender borders, and koi pond featured in local blogs and the Rosewood Gazette. My dream was to launch Clara's Garden Designs, a business that would secure Kai's future and cement my place in Rosewood. The Rosewood Home Show, an annual event showcasing local talent, was my stated chance to win a $10,000 contract with a regional nursery, enough to fund my studio and website. My neighbor, Rita Caldwell, was a complicated figure. At 40, Rita was a charismatic realtor with a flair for drama, her manicured lawn a stark contrast to my wildflower beds. We'd been friends since I moved to Rosewood, bonding over coffee and book club, her laughter a fixture at our barbecues. But Rita's ambition had a sharp edge. She'd once taken credit for a charity event I'd organized, and her compliments on my garden often felt probing. Last spring, she'd asked to collaborate on a home show display, citing her sales skills. "Let's make your garden shine, Clara," she said, her smile warm. I agreed, sharing my design plans, never suspecting she'd turn my trust into a weapon. The home show was weeks away, and I threw myself into preparations, sketching a miniature version of my backyard for my booth, complete with a stone fountain and native plants. Rita offered to handle logistics, promising to secure a prime spot. "You focus on the plants," she said, her text full of emojis. I trusted her, my first mistake, unaware she'd use my design to steal my spotlight. The Rosewood Home Show transformed the community center into a bustling marketplace, its halls filled with booths showcasing kitchens, patios, and gardens, the air thick with sawdust and floral scents. My booth was ready, its miniature garden glowing under grow lights, Kai's marigold pots adding a child's charm. Min helped set up, his lanky frame hauling planters, while Kai handed out seed packets, his grin infectious. I wore my favorite green dress, my portfolio of garden photos open, ready to pitch to the nursery's CEO, Ms. Ellen Harper, whose contract was my ticket to success. Opening day was electric. Crowds surged, my booth drawing gasps, locals like Mr. Henry Walsh praising my Rosewood Eden. Then I noticed a commotion at the main stage, a prime spot I'd expected for my display. It wasn't mine. Rita stood there, her booth a mirror of my backyard, stone paths, lavender borders, even a replica koi pond, all under a banner reading Rita's Garden Oasis. She waved a contract, claiming she'd designed it. "This is my vision," she told the crowd, her voice confident. "A gift to Rosewood." My heart stopped, the crowd's applause a gut punch. My garden. I'd planted every bulb, sketched every path, spent nights with Min perfecting the pond's flow. I pushed through the crowd, Min and Kai trailing, my voice shaking. "That's my design, Rita," I shouted, pointing to her booth. She turned, her smile tight. "Clara's confused," she said, laughing. "She helped with some plants, but this is mine." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others eyeing me with pity. Ms. Harper, clipboard in hand, raised an eyebrow, her pen still. Min gripped my hand, his jaw tight, while Kai tugged my sleeve, his voice small. "Why's she got our garden, Mommy?" I knelt, hugging him, but rage burned inside. Rita had stolen my design, my booth, my dream, in the heart of Rosewood's biggest event. I had no proof on hand, my photos at home, my trust in her friendship shattered. We retreated to our booth, its modest corner now a shadow of Rita's stage, sales flatlining as visitors flocked to her oasis. Min was furious, his teacher's calm replaced by resolve. "She doesn't take your work, Clara," he said, stacking unsold pots. "We prove it's yours." Kai, teary, drew a flower on a flyer, saying, "For our garden." I hugged him, promising, "We'll fix this," but my heart raced with fear. That night, in our cozy living room where Kai's terrariums lined the shelves, I couldn't sleep, Rita's smug smile a taunt. I wasn't a detective, but I'd been meticulous. My garden's design was documented, photos time-stamped on my phone and cloud, showing every stage from bare soil to blooming beds. I found a folder labeled Backyard 2026, with shots of Min building the pergola, Kai planting marigolds, each dated over 2 years ago. Rita's design was a copy, her booth a fraud, but how had she pulled it off? I checked my laptop, finding an email I'd sent Rita during our collaboration, sharing my sketches for booth ideas. Her reply was casual, "Looks fab." But a follow-up showed her asking for all photos for planning. I'd sent a link, giving her my cloud access. Digging deeper, I found her emails in our book club shared drive, where she'd pitched her garden design to a landscaping firm, Greenscape, using my layout verbatim. One message, to a friend, bragged, "Clara won't know I took her garden till I've won." I called Mrs. Liu, a retired florist who'd mentored me in Rosewood's gardening club. She'd seen Rita photographing my backyard last summer, claiming it was for a sale listing. Mrs. Lee had overheard her at a club meeting, saying she'd outshine Clara at the show. Min recorded her statement, her voice firm. She planned to pass it off as hers. I also contacted Mr. Tran, the hardware store owner who'd supplied my booth materials. He'd sold Rita identical stone pavers. Her order rushed after seeing mine. I reached out to Ms. Sarah Wei, a lawyer who'd helped us with our business permit. Sarah reviewed my evidence photos, emails, Mrs. Lee's statement, Tran's receipt and nodded. "This is intellectual property theft," she said. "You can sue, but exposing her at the show will hit harder." Rita's ego thrives on applause. I agreed. I wanted Rita to face the crowd she'd deceived, the neighbors who trusted her, the town that loved my garden. Over 3 days, Nen and I became sleuths. Our kitchen a war room of evidence, Kai's bedtime stories swapped for strategy talks. My photos were the cornerstone, their timestamps a clear timeline of my design, backed by sketches and receipts. I printed Rita's emails, her Greenscape pitch, and her incriminating texts, all notarized by Sarah. Then contacted the show's tech volunteer, who confirmed my cloud photos predated Rita's emails, her access a breach. Mrs. Lee's statement grew stronger. She recalled Rita sketching my pergola at a garden tour, claiming it was her idea. Another neighbor, Mr. Ben Carter, had seen Rita measuring my pond. Muttering about winning the contract, Ben's recorded statement was clear. Rita's been copying Clara's garden for months. Sarah helped us create a presentation, weaving photos, emails, and testimonies into a damning narrative. It slides a fortress of truth. Kai, sensing our resolve, brought a quiet strength. One evening, he handed me a clay pot he'd painted with a marigold. "For the mean lady to see," he said, his eyes fierce. I hugged him, tucking the pot into my bag for luck. We learned Rita's motives. She was struggling. Her real estate commissions drying up, her lavish lifestyle unsustainable. The home show's contract was her lifeline, but she'd chosen to steal rather than compete. I felt a flicker of pity, remembering her book club laughs, but her betrayal was a choice, and it threatened Kai's future. The show's final day, where the contract would be awarded, was our stage. I emailed Miss Harper, requesting to clarify my booth, copying Rita. She texted, laughing, "Clara, give up. I've won." Her arrogance fueled me. "See you Sunday," I replied. My fingers steady. The final day was a carnival of creativity, the community center packed with families, vendors, and judges, the air buzzing with anticipation. Rita's stage booth was a spectacle, her copied garden drawing crowds, her lavender borders a mockery of mine. My corner booth was quiet, but my resolve was iron. Nen stood beside me, Kai clutching my hand, his painted pot in my bag, a talisman against the nerves knotting my gut. Sarah and Mrs. Lee were in the crowd, ready to back us, while Ben and Tran nodded from nearby booths, their support a quiet anchor. Ms. Harper opened the award ceremony on the main stage, her voice warm, praising the show's talent. Rita preened, ready to claim the contract, her dress sparkling, but I stepped forward. "I have evidence to share," I said, connecting my laptop to the projector. The screen glowed with my first backyard photo, Nin digging the pond, dated 2 years ago. "Rita stole my garden," I said, my voice steady despite the gasps. I walked through the evidence time-stamped photos, Rita's greenscape pitch, Mrs. Lee's recording. She planned to pass it off. Ben's voice followed. Rita copied Clara's pond. The crowd turned, some booing Rita, others whispering, neighbors like Mr. Walsh glaring. Rita's face paled, her stammered defense, "It's a mix-up," drowned by murmurs. I showed her sketches of my pergola, trans receipt for her pavers. Sarah presented the notarized documents, her voice firm. "Clara's design is legitimate." Ms. Harper's frown deepened, her eyes on Rita, who slumped, her charm useless. She awarded me the contract, her handshake a validation. "We value originality," she said. Rita left the stage, head bowed, her victory shattered in the show's unforgiving light. Rita's reputation collapsed in Rosewood's tight-knit community, where trust is everything. The gardening club banned her, neighbors dropped her realty services, and her copied garden was dismantled. Her business folded, debts piling up, and rumors reached us that she'd moved to Dayton, selling condos, her dreams of glory buried under her deceit. I didn't gloat, her fall wasn't my joy. My joy was my garden, blooming again, its paths alive with Kai's marigolds, the $10,000 contract funding my studio, and a website that drew clients across Ohio. We rebuilt in Rosewood's embrace. Nina and I hosted a community garden tour, inviting kids to plant seeds, Kai leading his friends in marigold rows, his pride healing the scars of Rita's betrayal. Mrs. Lee organized a gardening workshop, naming me its lead, my role mentoring locals, a nod to my dream. Ben and Tran joined my business network, their trust a foundation for growth. I expanded my designs, adding a butterfly garden inspired by Kai's love of wings, each plot a step toward our legacy. The betrayal left a wound. Rita had been a friend, her coffee chats a memory of simpler days. Losing that stung, a reminder to guard what mattered. Nan, sensing my quiet moments, pulled me aside one night under Rosewood's starry sky, Kai asleep inside. "You're a force, Clara," he said, his hand in mine. "You saved our garden." I kissed him, grateful for his strength, for Kai's light, for the blooms that were ours again. A year later, Rita sent a letter, postmarked from Dayton, her handwriting shaky. "I'm sorry, Clara," she wrote. "I was desperate and wrong. Your garden's beautiful." I read it in my studio, Min beside me, Kai's latest pot on my desk. I didn't reply, not yet. The pain was still tender, but I saved it, a reminder that neighbors can falter, but roots grow stronger than lies. One evening, as fireflies danced over Rosewood, I stood by my pond, its koi glinting. Nan wrapped his arms around me, Kai skipping ahead, chasing moths. "Your garden's magic, Mommy," he said, his voice bright. I smiled, my heart full. The home show that nearly broke us became our triumph, proof that my design, our legacy, was planted in truth, not theft.